Last week I put up my 15 CrossFit hot takes. And while I don't have 15 things to talk about today, they're going to get a little bit more specific. We're going to start broad, we're going to end specific. My initial broad claim is that CrossFit was in a tug of war with the entire fitness industry and it kind of gave up polling in the year 2019. This kind of originated with the entire fittest on earth statement. CrossFit athletes were the fittest on earth no matter where you tried to find them. And when I imagine tug of war, I imagine a pit in the middle. And CrossFit was standing on one side, it was slowly just like pulling people into the pit. And the thing about pulling people into the pit is then they're like, darn, we should probably go and hang out with the CrossFitters on the other side of the rope. I also know that this, which was a tweet from a little while ago, was inspired by hybrid athletes. CrossFitters are hybrid athletes, but they snatch. Hybrid athletes are CrossFitters that don't snatch. They can't snatch, they don't care to do it, they don't want to do it, or maybe it's just too hard for them. They don't want to do high-level, high-skill, complex gymnastics movements. In a nutshell, they're bodybuilders that can run, or maybe they're powerlifting bodybuilders that can run. I have very good reason to believe that if Greg Glassman was still the CEO of CrossFit and he didn't get the boot, that he probably wouldn't know all that much about hybrid athletes these days. That was my broad statement, and when we get to number two, it's going to get a little bit more specific, where if you put my brain into anybody's body, your physique will look better in about 12 months. Put this out on April 21st, and I can guarantee you I had this thought as I was in maybe a shopping mall or maybe a movie theater. I'll always say that I'm not judging people, I'm just taking data. Just numbers and metrics inside and out, and I'm looking at things and I'm just thinking, how can you do this, and how often are you doing this? In relation to the person who is at the counter who is just massively overweight, they're getting the massive popcorn, they're getting candy, they're getting pizza, they're getting the large soda because you know you get free refills on the thing. Those are the same people that are going to hear some article or have a buddy of them say that it's their hormones that are out of whack, that it's the reason that they can't lose any weight. They don't know what it's like to try. I'm in a unique position where I grew up with an obese father, an obese mother, an obese sister. I myself was obese, and then I figured out how to lose weight, and now I know what it's like to not be fat. It's a switch in your brain that you gotta hit. You don't need to take GLP-1s or Ozempic or anything. You just have to understand that what you think is trying is not trying. You gotta realize that food and the way that you've been eating food is the same as having cocaine or alcohol. There's something in your brain that's telling you that you need it way too much. And all you gotta do is get over like a 1 month hump. And after you're over the 1 month hump, it gets way easier. But you like to pat yourself on the back and use food as a reward about once a week. And then when you do it once a week, you're like, I screwed myself. And then you're doing it 2 to 3 times in a weekend, figuring that you'll get back on track on Monday. And then maybe you do. But the thing is, you did so much damage over the weekend that you're screwed. And if you put my head into that person's body, you just got to preoccupy yourself. Best thing you can do if you're obese to lose weight is to keep your hands busy. Keep your mind off of the fact that you might be hungry, because the hunger feeling is real. You take up a project such as, let's say, video editing, where you have to do it and you have to stay focused on it for 8 hours straight and you can't be using your hands to do other things. Before you know it, you didn't eat for 8 hours. That's modern day Andrew, but fat young Andrew used to just go and play sports on a team. Not only are you getting the physical benefit of doing the sport, but also you've got about 2 to 3 hours there where you're not just throwing food down the hole. Number 3, you should never be surprised by the number on the scale. I should let you know at this point that a lot of this is anecdotal from people who I've spoken with over the course of time in which I've been working with clients and people in training. I'll tell them I gotta get on the scale and they're always shocked. And in that moment, it re-blows my mind that people just don't weigh themselves every day. People check their emails every day. If you don't check your email and you come into it the next day and you have 1,000 unread emails and they're all from work and they were all supposed to be answered yesterday and everyone's blowing up your inbox because you weren't answering your emails, would you be surprised by it if you're supposed to check it every day? No, you'd be scared of the inbox. You'd want nothing to do with the inbox when you go to the cubicle that next day. Maybe you're looking at your cell phone out of the corner of your eye and you're seeing that little red icon just kind of pop, 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 pop. But conveniently enough, you can just avoid the scale. No one's yelling at you, but you should be yelling at yourself. Every single day, you should be getting your butt on the scale, just as one of those data points. The metric that I mentioned earlier when I was at the movie theater watching people pick up popcorn and ice cream. It's just good to know what's going on with everybody else. It's not all about me. And the scale is all on you, because you don't have people yelling at you. The equivalent of your credit card just declining, checks bouncing. But where you do run out of money and your credit card declines, you never run out of room to gain adipose tissue. You can just do it forever. And you're dumb for not looking at the scale every day. Get a scale, put it in a spot where you use the bathroom first thing in the morning and write that thing down. Open up a little notepad and start jotting that down and make your own Ty Jenkins sort of chart. Number 4, I have yet to meet an obese person who did so by only eating meat. If you watch any of my content, you'll know that I like to take things to the absolute extreme. So I know that there aren't a bunch of people who are just eating meat. I also know that there are thin people who eat things outside of meat, including cake and ice cream. But every single time somebody's massive, if 8 billion people ended up watching this YouTube video, I would not see a single commenter say, yeah, I got here and I'm on the Atkins diet. Yeah, I got here and I eat like the Liver King. I only eat raw liver. Protein's a crazy satiating food. By the time you've eaten a chicken breast, you don't don't want a second chicken breast. And if you're crazy enough to want a second chicken breast, you definitely don't want a third. And hell, while meats like ribeyes and New York strips might be more fatty and they might be more calorically dense, it's really hard to throw down more than one of those guys as well. But it's not hard to throw down potato after potato's worth of chopped up, oiled up French fries. How many calories are in an Oreo? I don't, but I know how many calories are in 3 Oreos. I believe it's 170. If you get the double stuffed, it's 2 per 170. How many of you guys just throw down Oreos on occasion? 5, 10 Oreos. And if you want to go back to point 2 where people are all, you don't know what it's like, the hormones don't work. You have the Oreos, you mess up your insulin, and again, it's your own fault. Put my brain in your body and you're ready to rock and roll. Just don't eat the Oreo. Stop eating simple carbohydrates. My final one is one of my favorite tweets of all time. It's an extended list of things that I would kind of lead my members to saying. Conversations I'd have over and over again to the point where I just wrote them on the whiteboard. Hey guys, look at this. Don't listen to any of this, or listen to some of it, and here's why. When I was in my peak CrossFit condition, I ate Chipotle every single day. I slept 8 hours. Exercised 2 to 5 hours a day, weights 4 to 6 sessions, and I was out of breath 6 to 12 sessions a week. Coached upwards of 8 hours a day. Probably in the gym more like 10 to 12 hours a day as the owner of the place as well. 180 to 200 grams of protein is a 185 pound person. 3 to 4,000 calories. I would eat Sour Patch Kids before and after a workout, and if I was feeling super crazy, I'd have them in the middle of workouts. I wouldn't eat bread. Bread made me slow. Bread is the devil now, and it was the devil then. I only drank water and pre-workout. There was no room for anything else, and I did everything I could to eliminate all stress. I understand a lot of those things are insane to your average everyday person. Even as I sit here, I am a different human than I was when I was telling all of my members as a 25, 26-year-old gym and affiliate owner how to operate their lives as 35 to 40-year-old parents of 10. What I told everybody is to ignore the fact that I ate Chipotle daily. That's stupid. Why would you do that? Although I do think it's one of the best fast food options. It's just rice and meat if you do it right. And get the white rice, not the brown rice. Number 2, prioritize this over everything else. If you can do the 8 hours of sleep, do the 8 hours of sleep. It also actually kind of drove me nuts when people would try to make fitness happen as a result of a sleep deprivation. Like one time here or there, I get it, but there were people who would just frequently try to get to the gym at the expense of the amount of sleep they were getting, and every single time they would lead to burnout or injury. Go to bed earlier or shift things around in your life where if you do need to work out at 5 or 6 in the morning, you gotta be going to bed at like 9 o'clock p.m. at the latest. I'd see people leaving the gym at 9:30 p.m. and then I'd also see them again the next morning at 5 a.m. Hey, I had 3 hours of sleep. I'm like, yeah. Darkest bags you've ever seen under their eyes. Barely crawling through their workouts, but hey, at least you got the workout in, right? So dumb. Divide the exercise by 4. You'll get like an hour in every single day. I'm actually pretty big on not taking rest days. If you follow the Hiller Fit program, you'll see that even Sunday has kind of a program thing. Every single Sunday is exactly the same. It's make up something that you did or go out and do something or just move for 30 to 60 minutes. I've had the online program for 6 years now, and every single Sunday it's a copy and paste. Do this. People always log in too. I like the fact that people log in their Sunday workouts with the exact same copy and paste. It's like, I did this from Thursday, or I just did this. But I really like the prescription of how much weight training and how many times you get out of breath as well. If you're not lifting weights 1 or 2 times a week, you're not lifting weights enough. And when I say weights, I mean specific weight training. Not, that was a heavy barbell in a Metcon. It could be Olympic weightlifting, it could be powerlifting, it can be bodybuilding, I don't care, but there has to be like specific, like build to a heavy 5-rep deadlift, do a 5x5 back squat, build to a 20-rep back squat, find a 3-rep max thruster from the floor. That sort of stuff is all stuff that has to be done at least twice a week. And then get out of breath 2 to 4 times a week. You can do that in 1 minute, you can do that in 20 minutes. You can stretch that over 20 minutes. You can do a Hyrox race, you can do a marathon, you can do Fran, you can do a 10-second assault bike sprint. You can get yourself out of breath. But you're just signaling to your body repetitively what's important to you, and that it is important to keep said fitness that you've got in there. It's good that you constantly vary the stuff as well. I'm coaching 4 to 8 hours a day in the gym, upwards of 12. I'm assuming people are doing the same thing at work as well, so that applied across the board. In relation to the protein goals, this usually still applied. The only ways that it wouldn't apply is if you were kind of a larger person trying to lose weight. So if you're a 300-pound man who wants to be 200 pounds, 200 grams of protein is what you want. If you're a 115-pound female who wants to be 140 pounds, or 140 grams of protein is your goal. Basically hit the weight you want to be in protein. I don't have it anywhere on here, but carbohydrates are basically the gas tank of your fitness expenditure. If you work out more, you can have more carbs. If you work out less, you can have less carbs. If you want to lose weight, you bring the carbs down, no matter how much you're working out, but you keep the protein high because you want to retain the lean muscle mass. And you, like we talked about earlier, you want to keep yourself satiated from having the 10, 18 chicken breasts. Just about nobody had the same goals as me, so nobody was trying to eat 3,000 to 4,000 calories a day. Those were usually 2,000 to 3,000. 2,000 for the women and upwards of 3,000 for the men, because the people at my affiliate were coming in 5+ days a week. 7, don't eat Sour Patch Kids. Don't do that. Why would you do that? My take on bread with my average everyday members is when you go and have a burger, they're great without the bun. Order a burger, go to the restaurant, and then everyone's gonna look at you kind of weird. But you want to be kind of weird. You want to be different. You want people thinking, why aren't you eating the bun? It's like, well, my CrossFit coach, or at this point, this random dude on the internet told me to not eat the bun. I don't need the bread. Bread is the devil now, and it was the devil then. But I want the protein, and I know the burger patty tastes good. If you're weird for long enough, all of a sudden, those people will be copying what you're doing as well. I would only drink water and pre-workout, and when I would talk to my members, I would tell them every single chance I got that alcohol is poison. I kind of had a 1, 2, 3 strikes you're out thing. You got goals? I like to hear your goals. Oh, you told me you're drinking. Strike 1. Oh, you got goals and you're not hitting your goals? Tell me more and let's figure this thing out. Oh, I heard you had this giant banger of a weekend on a bachelor party. That's strike 2. And always right around strike 2, you got really weary. I got really weary. I'm like, I don't want to hear anymore. I don't want to have to mentally shut this person out, because if I didn't shut this person out mentally, it would really weigh on me. And this is something I learned earlier in my coaching career, especially in the affiliate where people would keep on coming in. You can lead the horse to water, but you can't make it drink. And in their case, they wouldn't stop drinking, so I stopped trying to lead the horse to water. Doesn't mean you can't teach them how to snatch, you can't help them on their progressions for their gymnastics, and you can't tell them how to break down workouts, but when conversations got a little bit stressful or emotional on their end, you just had to say, hey, did you drink? And they'd say, yeah, I had a couple. And I'm like, well, stop drinking. And then you just kind of walk away. Number 10, I try to eliminate all stress, just no stressful situations. Believe it or not, it's easier than you think. I wrote for my members, life is what you make it. When life gives you lemons, you can make lemonade. When life gives you lemons, most people who are stressed out all the time decide to take those lemons and squeeze them into their eyeballs and freak out because of it. When you hear hundreds of people's stories every single day, you start to think, why is it that you make things so hard on yourself? Why did you do that? Something crazy is I would always have members come in, and there were a handful, and I'm sure people know these people, that are always who are upset about work. Things at their job are stressing them out. And I said, well, you could quit. And it was always funny. And I kind of meant it to be a joke. Oh, you could quit. Ah, ha, ha, yeah. But the second that the affiliate life wasn't fun for me anymore, I quit. Sold my stake in the affiliate. The second it wasn't fun. And now I'm doing this and everything's great. But over the course of those 6 years in the affiliate, the same people all the time were always saying the same stuff about their jobs that they didn't like. And I was just like, just quit. Different sort of video. Hope you liked it. Link in the description below to sign up for the online program. Weekly live streams where I'll hang out with everybody who wants to chime in on those Sundays, and I'll answer all the questions that you got. Or if you just want some more online content where you're hearing people talk about the workouts and you meet some new people, that's the place to be. That's all I got to say about that. Andrew Hiller, out.